welcome to Love and Life Sorted. I'm Dr. Sandy Toe, and today we have a special guest, Maria.
Thank you, Sandy, for having me today. I'm very delighted to be here.
Yeah, so it's such a pleasure and such an honor. And because Maria just got married on Sunday, like a few days ago, right? Literally.
Yes, 4 days ago.
Yeah, I'm so excited to capture this glowing moment. Yeah, especially when, our topic today is finding love again after divorce. So this gives everyone so much hope that, don't give up and you will find love, like no matter the circumstances, right? Yours is such an uplifting story. So, I just have to share it with everyone.
Sure. happy to.
Yeah. Okay, so your husband is Ben, right? And I want to know, like, first of all, how did you guys meet?
How do we meet? We met through an online dating app.
Oh, which one was it?
It was Bumble.
Okay. So, how was the process? Was it easy to go through everything? Like, how was the online dating process? Is it positive?
Yeah, well, okay, so a little bit of context, right? I was at that time separated from my husband, right? After, I was with him for many years. It was like for 23 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were together for 23 years. So I left my husband, and it was about a year after we separated, and at the insistence of my girlfriends, I have very fortunately, I have a great group of girlfriends, who were also going through separation or divorce, so we were like, a support group for each other. And they, convinced me to put myself out there on, by going onto a dating app. And to be really honest, I really was not thinking about dating. I wasn't looking for anyone. I was just very happy to be on my own, to spend time with myself and, with my daughter, and enjoying my, my total independence, so to speak, right? Like emotional independence and everything.
Yeah.
So, and that was really the honest truth. Like, I was not looking for anyone. But, my girlfriends were saying, hey, you know what? It's nice to have a companion, right? It's nice to meet people and at least, have some fun, right? So I think, I'm a very curious person. So I decided to give it a go, right?
Right.
So I went on a dating app, and it was a very interesting experience. I've never been on one, so it was a bit of exploration.
Yeah. How old was your daughter at that time?
She was around 7, almost 8 years old at that time. Yeah.
Okay. And so you struck gold, like your first try. You said you'd never been on a dating app. And then you sort of like you hit the jackpot.
Well, I wouldn't say that, right? But it depends on what you're looking for, right? I was not ready for a relationship.
Oh, okay.
I was just open to meet people, open to get to know people, open to know what's out there, as a way also for me to learn more about myself and, what kind of relationship would I want, right? I really had no idea.
Oh, so you were just experimenting just because your girlfriends told you should try. You were thinking,
Yeah, and one of my girlfriends met someone, and they were in a serious relationship, and she was very happy.
Oh,
so,
okay.
I think my girlfriends just wanted me to be happy, right, and to have a chance at finding a companion that could make me happy. Although I would say my happiness was not dependent on a guy, right? I was quite happy with myself, and I was
right.
At least I would say I was learning to be much happier on my own.
Okay,
right?
okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
but that didn't mean that I had to shut out dating apps, whatnot, right? And I was curious. I'm always up for something interesting, something fun. So why not? And I love meeting people, right? I'm a bit of an extrovert. So I go, okay,
Oh,
why not?
okay.
Why not
Yeah,
meet
yeah.
people and get to know, what are their stories, right? At minimum, I can make new friends. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And did you and Ben start out as friends, or was it just like love at first sight?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't, but it was good chemistry at first sight. We had really good conversation. And we went on a few dates. And I think, yeah, we went off a little bit. But to be honest, I really wasn't ready for a serious relationship. I was just very open to having dating someone, right? But not necessarily, being in a really, serious relationship. It's not like I wanted to date other people, but I just wasn't in that mindset of settling down with anyone.
Because
right?
you had just gotten out of your marriage for a year.
Exactly.
And you have a daughter as well.
Exactly. That was the last thing on my mind. In fact, it's like, what am I doing, right? I mean, the last thing I wanted was to get married or anything like that, right? It doesn't mean when you're in a serious relationship, it means having to get married. And in fact, I don't think marriage is the be all and end all. It's not really, it's not for everyone.
Right.
You can be with someone, happily without getting married, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
at that time, my mindset was, okay, it's good to make, meaningful connections with people. But it didn't mean that I have to subscribe to a particular form of companionship, i.e. marriage, right?
Right.
So we dated for a while, but I think in the end we both realized we weren't exactly ready at that time. So we decided to just be friends.
Oh, okay. So how long did you decide? Like how many years or something that you were together?
It was about 4 months, 5 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you decided to just be friends. But what happened that ignited the relationship again?
Well, it was like years later, right?
Oh,
You know what I mean?
okay,
And so we
okay.
remained friends, and I think a lot of it was because of the friendship, right? We stay in contact, and I was, again, very much focused on my work, focused on my daughter. They were my priorities. And in between, I dated other people, and for me, it was a bit of I felt like I was a bit of a anthropologist because I was just so interested in meeting people and learning about their stories. If they were separated or divorced, what happened. For me, it was one way to also better understand what happened to my marriage. Right. And also to understand the mindset of men, right? Because this is my experience, but what do you think? What's your situation, and what was your journey, right? So a lot of it was for me to learn more about myself through other people's experiences.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And of course there are people that they're just there just isn't chemistry or connection, and that's okay, right? So you see all sorts of different people, right?
But besides no chemistry, were there people just were plain not people you want to meet per se? People who are just weird or
yeah, but very quickly, right? You don't even have to meet them in person, or if you meet them in person, quickly, right? Like you go for coffee, but so it's really an exercise of putting yourself out there, but being open to meet people, being open to get to know people, not to say, oh, I want to look for a partner, because that is very that can be very intimidating. Right?
Okay. Don't have expectations.
Have no expectations or low expectations, right?
Okay.
Warren Buffett said that once, like the secret to a happy marriage is to have very low expectations. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, what will come, So, but I think that is really good advice for people who are trying to maybe intentionally seek someone. They'll probably be disappointed if they don't. But for your case, you put yourself out there and you did, like, you tried to have fun with it. You tried to experiment with it. You tried to meet people just for making friends, as you said, like before. And then you try to see what can come out of it. And also, you, like, one really important thing is that don't get like deterred from it, like, because you had several sort of unsuccessful ones, or thing like ones that didn't lead to relationship, but the thing is, you were not put off by that, because some people, they go into these apps and then they probably don't meet someone and they get put off after a few not good ones. But that's important, because maybe you're really sort of optimistic and you're not having expectations, but once you get put off, it's really hard to get back on.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's true. It's true. I would just say that it's important that you do your work. Like you just, what I mean by that is, you focus on yourself first, right? And it's about the energy that you want to generate for yourself, how you want to show up with your friends, with your family, at work. That matters the most. And if you have that, if you're able to generate that positive energy for yourself, then you will have more of that positive energy to give. And then it kind of it comes back to you, right? I know it sounds really like a bit out there, but
No,
it
totally.
is
Yeah,
it is
totally.
true.
Yes, yes.
And I wouldn't just say rely on like dating app. That's just one channel, right? I think it's about getting out there, doing things that you enjoy, spending time with your friends, and you meet people also through like non-digital means,
Yeah. Attracting positivity is definitely my thing.
Yeah.
So because you're so like upbeat and everything, so I guess the people you attract would be quite friendly, quite lively. Yeah, like I had the pleasure of meeting Ben, and he's like so lively. He's like you, bubbly and lively, and positive, and the talented, that kind of person. So
Yeah.
like attracts like. Yeah. So, does he actually have a family of his own before?
Yes. He was also married. And yeah, he's also divorced. And I think that's also, for me, I learned was quite, it was like, for me anyway, it was helpful because you could talk about also your past relationships.
Yeah.
And I think it's, going back to the friendship piece, it's important to have common points of references, right? And we do, because of his relationship journey. And it hasn't always been easy, and we both learn a lot from our past relationships. And I think this is what makes this relationship, I think, so much better, stronger, and we're so much more aware of, I guess, what could go wrong, but what we need to do continuously to keep things good.
Yes. So, what have you learned, like in this relationship and your past one? What do you think will be different moving on?
A couple of things. I would say it starts with self-awareness. A lot of times, you go through life, you're so busy, you don't really think about how sometimes really how you're showing up for people, what you say to people, and how you are as a person, right? You don't maybe have enough reflection, right? So when you have like a conflict, for example, right? Where you have a fight, an argument, or whatever, instead of just thinking, oh, I know I got to be right, go think about, you step back, go, actually, what's really happening here? What are we really arguing about, right? You want to go beneath the iceberg, right? It's not just a topic. It's like, well, what are the values that you are actually, where there might be differences? Let's unpack that a bit. And that's the kind of conversation that I'm able to have now with my husband. We it's not like, oh, we can't talk about things. We go, okay, let's step back and talk about what happened there. Where were you upset? Why was I upset? Right? Something I couldn't do before in my past relationship, right? But I've learned to do that, right? So that, I guess, is ability to really reflect and be self-aware, and then communicate. Be really open to communicate, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, being open, being able to be vulnerable, right? To show, well, this is actually why I feel bad about this, or why this is just how this hurts me, or what really bothers you. Because sometimes when you argue, or when you have a point of tension, you say things that are sometimes really stupid, right?
Hurtful,
right, or hurtful,
yeah,
but it's not landing right. It's not what you really mean. There's actually a lot more underneath that.
Yeah.
And you just need to take the time, give yourself and your partner the time and space to uncover that. So I guess I'm very lucky, like, to have someone who can do that with me, right? Because if you're the only one doing that, I think that's very helpful too. But it's not the same as having a partner who can also do that with you, right? Because that actually strengthens your relationship.
Totally. Yeah, you can't do that by yourself. I mean, if there's no one there to reciprocate, you can't just be you being very communicative, being very considerate, and the other person is like a stone wall.
Yeah, it's like doing a monologue, right?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't work that way. So you definitely need and deserve to find someone who's like doing that with you. Like, it takes two to tango.
Yeah. So I think this is why it goes back to what I said before. Like, it's so important that you take the time to get to know yourself, right? And also, when you do meet someone, like, the connection has to be deeper than just like, initial chemistry, right?
Of course.
Because I think for me, I was friends with Ben for quite a few years before we got back together.
Right.
And that was funny, right? We had to kind of also transition again, but I think we had such a nice foundation, right? To build on. Everything was a bonus, was very natural. Yeah. I mean, if I were to give anyone advice, and I'm not here to give anyone advice, but I think from my experience is start with friendship, right? And I think you will be surprised at where it can go, right? I mean, if there's more to it, then more will happen. If there isn't, then at least you have a great friend.
Oh, yeah. Totally. And, something good. I was thinking about the positive energy thing. I think one of the reasons why you're so positive, you have a positive outlook about all this thing, is because you ended your you ended your first marriage amicably. Did you? And that is important too, that you're not bitter and everything. And so you can enter into a new phase with carrying positivity.
Yeah. So I think that was really important because for me, it was, I've known my ex-husband for so long, right? We were, best friends for a long time. And, but, we grew in different directions. And, over time, we just got to a point where I wanted to go beyond survival. I really wanted to thrive. I wanted to, I wanted to have space to experience different possibilities, not in terms of relationship, right? But just feeling like I needed, I needed the space. I needed space with positive energy. And I think, the way things were going, it wasn't energizing me, right?
Oh, okay. It was bringing you down.
Yeah, it was bringing me down. It was bringing me down.
And how? Like, any specific cases where you thought the marriage was just...
I think there was just a lot of energy that I had to spend to get my point across, like with how we raise our child. And I think this goes back to, share values, right? Like, we do actually have a lot of shared values, right? And he's a good guy.
Okay.
It's just that sometimes we have different ways of expressing those values. But once you have a child, like when you were just together, just me and him, it was perfectly fine.
But
once you have a child in the picture, the differences you have in values, and like I guess it just depends on what those values are. the differences do magnify, right?
Yes.
And then
yes.
they can become a source of tension and friction. And then it becomes a question of how you resolve them, right? Are you really communicating, at a deeper level to address them, or is one person, talking more than the other, or so where you have that imbalance, then resentment can build, right?
Yes.
And
Totally.
when that happens over and over again, then you do grow apart, right?
Right.
So I think in the end, it was just it was much better for both of us to to go our separate ways. Relationship wise, in terms of husband and wife, but it didn't mean we couldn't still have a connection, being at least civil to each other, right? Also because we have to co-parent, we have a child here, right? No matter what, we're always going to have a connection through that child. So for me, it was really important that we have a positive connection, a positive, a healthy one. And at that time, I heard about this conscious uncoupling, right, from Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin. And I think I found that very intriguing. And I really wanted something like that. I didn't want to subscribe to a particular template, like, oh, if I'm going to separate from my husband, eventually leading to a divorce. I don't see that as a failure. I see that as, I'm just going to go through a transformation or transition at least, right?
Yeah.
And how can I make this transition most productive, right? For myself, for my child, and for my ex-husband. And of course, I'm not saying everyone will feel that way at the same time, right? Everyone has their own, their own journey, right? But for me, I think I got there. I envisioned that, right? So I was able to move faster along that track. So it was amicable.
Yes.
And we, again, not everything was easy. You still have to go through the courts, or go through the legal process. But we were lucky that we didn't there was no litigation or anything like that, right? We just agree on how we're gonna share the the custody, the care of our child, the finance and all of that, right? So we were able to work things out over time. Yeah.
You're lucky. Yeah, lucky for that.
Yeah. I know. I mean, even for a lot of my friends, things can get really tough and really ugly. Right? And I think it's tough. It's very sad also because, you think about it, right? You're once so in love, you're together, you have kids together, and all of a sudden it's like, it gets so ugly, right? And
I know. It falls apart.
It falls apart.
It's such a pity. Yeah. It's a pity.
And people are not necessarily showing up, the best selves, right? When that happens. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can be quite disillusioning. Yeah. This whole marriage thing.
Yeah. But I tell you what, I mean, my ex and I we decided that, we didn't want the only people who would win are the lawyers, right? If you decide to go fight it out in court, it's like, and I think at least, we have that sense as well. We have that, So that's part of why we do have this shared value. And then we said, okay, let's try not to do that. Let's just work out what will be fair, not to say that was a walk in the park, but it was something we decided that for sure we don't want our resources to go to the lawyers. We rather save it for our daughter.
That's very wise. Yes. I mean, of course, from the lawyer's point of view, they want you to go through more, but for yourselves, it's very wise decision.
Yeah.
And of course, you both have your child's your daughter's best interests at heart. Right. So that's very important as well.
Yeah.
If you really care genuinely about her, then you will try to reach a very sort of like a consensus. Yeah.
And they work for you. You don't work for them.
You're paying them.
You're paying them. Paying them, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So another thing is what was your daughter's reaction toward your new relationship? Was she very accepting at first? Because this is a very contentious ground,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
it?
yeah.
So did that go well?
Yeah, so firstly, like I never introduce anyone to my daughter unless or until I know that, this person is gonna stay in my life,
Right,
right? Or that
right,
it's very
right, right.
serious.
Yeah.
So um when she first met him, he was a friend, Uncle Ben, right?
Right, right, right.
And that was totally fine. And then, okay, eventually I said, okay, he's actually my boyfriend. And so she was like, but I think she was okay. I think she got on well with him, because for me, I would not have ever like introduced him to my daughter unless I feel like, not only because he's serious, but it's a serious relationship, but I know his character. I know he's a good person,
Right,
right?
right, right.
And so for me, I have absolute faith and trust that he's such a good person that there's no reason why my daughter would have an issue, right? Or even if she's not comfortable because of this happens, right, with children of divorced parents, that they always maybe have this fantasy that their parents might get back together. I don't know, but even if it's not like a straight line, right? Like I knew that I was doing the right thing. I know I'm introducing a good person, a good energy
Right,
into
right, right.
the household, the family unit. Yeah.
Right, right. And does Ben have children of his own?
Yes.
There are grown children?
Yeah. They grow. Well, they are 17 and 20. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, quite grown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like at that stage, it doesn't really matter for them that much. They probably have their own lives, right?
I think they're definitely more mature about it, right? But it doesn't mean it's not an issue. I think it's I'm not saying it's an issue, but it's something that you still have to be cognizant of, that you still have to work on building the connection and relationship with them, right?
Right, right, right.
But they are definitely a lot more mature about it, a lot more accepting about it, and I'm very lucky, and they're super lovely, and the great thing is they get on really well with my daughter as well, right?
Okay, yeah, that's super
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
Blended families, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
And so
challenge.
it can be, yes, but it can also be I think very exciting. It's can be very very fun. It can be
Yeah.
you're introducing new dynamic, right, and new experiences, and they just have basically more people that they can care for and be cared for as well.
Yeah. It can be quite fun, I think, if
Yeah.
it works out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, another thing we didn't mention was Ben is French. We didn't
Yes, he
mention.
is. Don't hold him against it, but he is.
No, that's superb. Yeah. So another thing is your ex-husband was also
He's
from
Australian.
yeah, was also Western.
Yeah.
So yeah, you like about this intercultural relationship things. Do you have any insights about that?
I was born in Hong Kong, but I grew up in Canada, so I'm a bit of a mixed bag of cultures anyway. So on one hand, I'm quite comfortable with Western culture, but I'm not like totally Western. I mean, my values are a blend of East and West, I would say, right? So, but of course, there are differences, right? With some things, some habits. I don't know. I think it's a very personal thing. It's I would say there are more pros than cons, if you like, right? Because I'm very curious as a person. So for me, it was very interesting to learn about another culture, and I spent a lot of time in Australia, and now I'm spending a lot of time in France.
Oh, okay.
So it's great to explore another culture with someone from that culture, right? You see things through their eyes, but they also see things through your fresh eyes, right? So I think from a cultural exchange perspective, it can be very rich, very fulfilling.
Yeah, neat.
But I think there also, sometimes there are differences in values, right? Now, again, it could be a source of friction, or it could be a source of enrichment, right? It all depends on how you talk about them. Like I give you an example. Like and Ben and I talk about this, right? His family, he and his family, they're very close. They're very touchy feely, hugs and kisses. They, when he sees his parents or his sibling, they would, kiss and hug each other, right? Chinese families, we don't do that, right? Now, when I see my friends, I would, hug and kiss my friends. But not so much with my mom, for example, right? It's just a different dynamic, right? And you kind of you grow up with it, you accept it, right? So sometimes you're like, why can't my family be like yours? Or sometimes you think about like why there's this difference, and sometimes it could be really annoying when you see, why are you guys always kissing and hugging and talking every day? It's just too much. But it's okay. Like, you talk about it, you go, actually, you really value it. And you just kind of, you accept the difference.
And I mean, does your mom accept the difference? Because when Ben sees her, I think he wants to sort of hug and kiss. That's the main thing.
I don't know. I think he tries not to scare her too much. No, I think he's very warm, right, with her, and I think she appreciates it. So it's great. Like, I think it doesn't mean like you have to be either this or this. It can be you meet in the middle, right? Right. Yeah. And but then you see it's great because you're more aware of the spectrum of behaviors or protocols, right? And you can flex. It actually makes you a more flexible person, more adaptive person.
Yeah, totally. And for you, like adapting first of all to Canadian culture, and then Australian culture, and then French culture. Yeah, you must be very versatile.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's really important now, right? I mean, if you look at the world that we live in, it's important to be adaptable. The world is changing so much, and so even from learning new skills, AI, technology, to interpersonal relationships, right? It's so important to have an open mind.
Yeah, and for you as well, you also switched careers mid-career, right? Because you used to like let's talk a little about your career trajectory, because you had started your own business.
Yes.
Yeah.
I started my executive coaching practice about a year ago. Or if you like, seriously, about 6 months ago, right? I was in corporate for many years, like 28 years before, and I think it got to a point where I felt like I needed to do something different. And I, through my corporate experience, I also learned that there has to be a different kind of professional existence as well, right?
Yeah.
And so I came across coaching about a year and a half ago, and started to learn more about it. Started to actually have proper education around it. And then started to actually do it, right? So when I eventually left corporate, and I was able to slowly set up my my practice. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like that's another major step as well. So you're facing a lot of tremendous changes these few years. Like the rekindling the relationship with Ben, and eventually getting married a second time, and also setting up your own coaching business. So this is like a year full of opportunities and
a lot of changes, new beginnings. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So like our topic is, well, like, don't get deterred, and there's like a new beginning is always possible. Like whether it is for love or for career. So you've realized both of it. Both aspects in your life so far.
In progress, work in progress. I mean, for me, it's never done. It's an ongoing journey. And even, now, I'm married. It's only really the beginning, right? We have to continually work on the relationship. Same, my relationship with my daughter, she's she is a full-blown teenager, it's not easy,
14, right?
Yeah,
14.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's very challenging. But at the same time, it's I'm learning a lot through like not learning to be only a better mom for her. It's not easy, but learning about myself, how I cope with challenging situations.
Right.
And with work as well. I mean, setting your own business, your own practices is not easy, right? But I'm very lucky that with everything I have good friends. I have good professional communities around me. So again, it is important to make connections with people that could give you the support, the energy, right? Not being closed off, right? Getting yourself out there and just sharing what you're doing, and you'll be surprised at how many people are in similar situations, or how many people also, face similar challenges. And as you talk about your challenges, it becomes more clear how you can approach it.
Yeah. And of course, your husband is very supportive of your new business.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to ask, like, what were the criteria that you had for a partner?
I honestly, I didn't have any like checklist, For me though, it was definitely someone I can connect with, right? Like you have to have share values, right? You have to be able to, I think it's important that person has to be able to communicate. Right?
Yeah.
And you could talk openly, honestly about things. Someone who is secure in themselves. I think that is super important.
Like,
Yeah.
the man has to be confident, you mean?
Not confident as in, I'm like confident, but like it's this quiet confidence is that they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They don't have to tell people that they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? They know, they just, and they just do it. They don't just talk about it. They do it, right? They are reliable.
Okay,
Yeah, reliability, integrity, kindness. I mean, these are all the qualities that I think many people look for. They're nothing, I think, special, right? At the end of the day, it's whether you feel you have that connection with that person and whether that person makes you feel safe. Like for me, that's really important.
Yes.
And whether that person gives you peace. When you're with that person, you have this anchor, right? And you feel seen, you feel heard.
Yeah,
All those things.
yeah, totally. Yeah, well said. So, such good advice from you, even though you're saying you're not giving dating advice, like you gave really good like advice on in general for people who are trying to give themselves a second chance, give love a second chance, despite divorce. Like they can, how one should act and what one should do, what energy should one emit in order to attract the love back into your life. Like you gave very good advice and food for thought.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's one thing I would do want to say is, I mean, for people who are going through difficult relationship, or whether it's in a marriage or in a long-term relationship, to take the time, right, to give yourself the space to think about what you really want, and it's lean on your friends, right? But there's always something you can do about it, right? And if it's a question of, if it's heading down a path of separation and divorce, it's okay. It's not a failure. I think, pockets of the Hong Kong society is still very conservative, and going through a divorce is not, obviously it's not a happy thing, right? But it's not something to be embarrassed about, something that's shameful. It's also a life transition. And it could be transformative, right? It's how you go about it that matters, right? It's how you show up, how you handle this separation with dignity for the other person, for the family, that I think matters most. I was reading this book called 100-Year Life by Linda Gratton and Andrew Scott, and I highly recommend that. Basically, the premise of the book is that, traditionally, life is made of sort of 3 key stages, right? When you're a kid, you learn, right? You go to school. And then you have your career, right? That's sort of the second key phase. And then the last phase is retirement, right? That doesn't hold anymore, right? We all know that learning is lifelong, right? Things are changing so quickly. You go to university, you start work, your learning isn't done yet, right? And career-wise, people go through multiple professions, right? I'm going through a change now. And the pace could be different, right? And as you live a longer life, there will be more transitions. And I think it's the same with relationship, right? Some of us will be very lucky that if you have a partner that could also evolve and change with you in the same, with the same rhythm, right? Then great. But sometimes that doesn't happen. And then it's okay to move on.
Yeah, totally. Like, as you approached your previous relationship, you felt that you're just not evolving, right?
Yeah. I think it was a point of, I say, you really feel stuck. And I think the other person probably feels the same with me, right? It just wasn't a good match anymore. And it's not like one individual's fault. I think we both are responsible for it, but then we both take the responsibility to work out how to move forward.
Yes. And to do it as amicably as possible. Yes. So you can, bring the positive energy on to the next relationship.
Yes.
So it was so great that it happened to you, and like you giving such great insights about like your success story, like how you were not forcing it, but you sort of did work on yourself first, know yourself first, and then trust in, like, I guess the universe giving you what you want. If you are exuding the positivity and exuding the self-understanding, then you will attract a like-minded individual. So that's so great. Like in every aspect of your life, you've applied this theory, and you've done really well.
Thank you. It's work in progress, but I think I subscribe to that mantra, of I think the 3 G's, right? Generating, giving, and then getting good energy.
So you would be like an excellent coach.
Thank
We
you.
all need that in our lives, I'm sure that besides coaching in career, you can also coach in life as well for your clients,
I think it's completely connected, right? I mean, work is such a big part of our life, and how you manage your life, how you manage your own energy, and so you can show up at work, effectively. It's part of, I guess when you talk about coaching, like you got to kind of get your life sorted, as well.
Definitely.
Otherwise, you can't show up the way you want to at work either.
Yes, I think work and personal life are interconnected.
Totally.
And you mentioned Warren Buffett, like saying having low expectations is important. I also read an interview. He also said that the most important thing that would lead to success is having the right partner.
Oh, honestly, I totally agree. I think a few people said that too. Like, it's the single most important investment you make.
Totally. Not his monetary investments, but his investment in the right wife for so many years.
Well, and actually, and making a reference back to the 100-Year Life book, there are different kinds of assets, right? You have like financial assets, but it's a social assets. And this is something that we need to be very cognizant of nurturing and building over time, investing in, right? Your relationships.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen the research out there too, right? People who live long, happy lives are ones who have really good social connections, right? With people. If you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have right, good social connections, it's just not as great.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much, Maria, for our lovely chat.
Thank you so much for having me, Sandy. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, so remember to subscribe to Love and Life Sorted so you can sort out your life like what we just tried to do. Yeah, and remember to subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and see you again next week.